Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Attractions Group podcast. Alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is episode number 78. Ryan, how you
I'm
doing?
doing great. Number 78. Well, that rhymes. I'm a poet and I don't know it. But it's hard to believe, 78 episodes in doing this stuff. Uh, for those of you who are listening to us for the first time, welcome. Make sure to follow us on X at attractions_GRP. We've got the audio version of the podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, all your favorite podcast apps. And we've got our luscious YouTube channel by searching for the Attractions Group podcast. And you can see the video version of the podcast where we have like pictures and stuff like that. So it's a much better experience. So, Don, the roller coaster train did not stop for you this winter as you just got back from an ACE event in Texas. Why don't you tell us about that?
I did. It was the annual American Coaster Enthusiast Winterfest event. It's been going on for years, always held in that region, the Southwest, for the ACE members that are part of that region. Just an amazing event. My first time I ever had visited SeaWorld in San Antonio, just blown away, just an absolutely beautiful park. The people there, just very, very good. Very engaging. Made sure that event, came off flawlessly. A lot of great presenters. Our good friend Jeffrey Siebert from Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, as always, stole the show with his presentation. But it was great to see all the different parks, that were there presenting at Silver Dollar City, Dollywood, Six Flags Over Texas among them, Alabama Adventure. So just to hear what all the other parks were doing, was great. But also, seeing some old friends that I knew from those other parks and with the ACE community, but also meeting some new people. Just a good time. And then, I had a chance after the event was over to ride some of the rides, and Steel Eel was a fantastic ride. Loved that. And I was just blown away by the Texas Stingray. It's a wooden coaster. GCI. It was, when you get off that ride and you want to get back in line and ride it again, and it quickly, soared near the top of my favorite wooden coasters. Just amazed at how good that ride. I've heard a lot of people talk about how good it is, but it not only met, but it exceeded my expectations. The food, off the charts good, and got a chance to see some of the different, the dolphins. There was a turtle, so it was just fun to just kind of circle the park and just see all that it has to offer. And I certainly, want to go back to Texas. I want to go to SeaWorld, and I want to experience the park, just a full day there out in the park.
That's awesome. I feel like, as always, SeaWorld is the most underrated park out there. And I imagine that the Texas stuff is probably very similar to it. But yeah, SeaWorld is terribly underrated. But we had some big news drop in the past couple days.
We certainly did. So get ready. In 2025, Universal Epic Universe, it's going to change everything. Big game changer here with what they announced this week. You're going to be able to explore astounding worlds beyond anything you've experienced before. And Ryan, this is one of those, things that as I was watching their video that they put out on social media, that's how you introduce a new theme park.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed as well, because you feel like you got a ton of information. You didn't get a lot of information, so they're gonna have a lot more moments like this in the next 6 months or so.
It's like a teaser, just enough to get you super excited and wondering if it's 2025 yet, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so several one thing they did do is, they did confirm the layout of the park, which is going to be in various portals. Um, so it starts off with the main drag. It's Celestial Park. Now, Celestial Park is where you step into a lush green world where thrills, entertainment, and dining and shopping lead all who enter on this exhilarating journey of discovery.
And then you've got the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic. So from 1920s Paris to the 1990s British Ministry, explore international wizarding communities and the magic that connects them in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic.
And then there's the one I'm most excited about. At Super Nintendo World, you'll experience a new way to play, from challenging Bowser on the Mario Kart ride to adventuring through Donkey Kong Country and so much more.
And then there's How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. Take to the skies and soar with dragons as you explore the colorful Viking village at the heart of Berk. Take part in wild boat battles, feast like a Viking, and more.
And then here's another one that sounds very interesting: Dark Universe. From the experience of Dr. Victoria Frankenstein to a shadowy landscape where monsters roam, Dark Universe is a world of myth and mystery. And it'll be very interesting to see how they implement their IPs, because Universal is responsible for almost all of those old black and white horror movies. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I was just blown away. I wasn't expecting to see, that being released either. I had been away, over the weekend, not really keeping tabs on what was happening elsewhere and on social media and seeing the Universal updates. And then, here it is. And I watched that video several times. It was just so well done. And that is how, like we said, this is the way to introduce, a theme park. But I think also, lessons can be learned if you're introducing a new attraction somewhere, just ways to do that and just really get everybody excited and engaged without really, like you said, releasing all the details.
We know very little. They talk about the rides, but you don't know like details of the rides. I mean, if you're a smart mark, as they might call you, a fair amount, because Super Nintendo World already exists in Japan and Hollywood, so you've got a pretty good idea. But for the average person, Super Nintendo World, what's that? That sounds amazing, which is exactly where they want you to be. Now, I think that the one area that is kind of going to be the hidden gem is Celestial Park. Now, Celestial Park is kind of their mainstream USA / International Street, whatever. You walk down the main drag. They haven't clarified this yet, but I've heard conflicting information, and we're going into speculation mode here, that maybe in the future might not require a ticket. You might be able to go into Celestial Park without a ticket, but you have to present your ticket to go through the portals to Harry Potter, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, and so on. So it'll be interesting to see how that's handled.
Yeah, and that was one of the areas too that I was really intrigued about. Like you said, not a lot of details, but I think just the picture that was painted, when you walk into Epic Universe, you really are going to feel like you're walking into a totally new world.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And speaking of walking into Epic Universe, this kind of ties back to the facial recognition technology that we've been talking about. We did a pick 6 about it quite a while ago, and then I think I spoke to it because they are testing it currently at both Universal Studios Florida and Islands of Adventure, where it's almost like Face ID. It looks at you, all right, you're good to go in. So I believe that the goal is you don't present a ticket. Like when you either redeem your ticket or maybe scan your face through the Universal app or something, that it captures your face, and then you can just walk right into these areas, and it's just like a security dude with an iPad just making sure. So yeah, 5 impressive worlds. God, it's so exciting.
Yeah, Celestial Park, it's also going to feature the thrilling Starfall Racers dueling coaster. So I think that that's something to look forward to as well if you're an enthusiast.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, that's another thing where people like you and I and most of the listeners can probably look at it and tell who's manufacturing it and so on. But the average person doesn't know anything about it. They know it's a dueling roller coaster. We don't know how tall it is necessarily or anything like that. So again, a lot more to be announced. Now, another thing we actually didn't mention this is the Universal Helios Grand Hotel, which is a hotel inside the park, which is uncommon in the United States. I know there's a couple in Europe, but this one actually has a whole side of the hotel where you're overlooking all of Celestial Park, which I imagine is going to be a little bit pricey. I imagine I'm going to pay that price because that's totally worth it.
It's almost like, that feel that you get when you're inside the Opry Land Hotel.
Yeah.
you're up in your hotel rooms and you can look out and you can see everything down below you, all the different, restaurants and everybody doing the different activities and that. So that's going to be really, really cool. And it again, a game changer for the hotel experience too, when you're at a resort. But this, it's an extraordinary theme park. It's going to have an unparalleled level of immersion and innovation. 50 over 50 captivating attractions. There's going to be the entertainment shows, dining experiences, shopping venues. It's just going to be an unforgettable adventure for guests when they visit this park.
I may have already ordered the Epic Universe T-shirt that's going to be here Friday with the logo on it and stuff. Yeah, so with very few detail, we can speculate on a lot of this stuff. There's Harry Potter, there's How to Train Your Dragon, Dark Universe. I think a lot of people will connect with more so. I think that'll be tough to market because it's not a current IP. But I think it'll be an area that people will very much enjoy. They'll enjoy more than they think they're going to, which will be really, really cool. So, going outside the box here, how does this affect the rest of Central Florida? Let me ask you that, and then I'll give you, after my long thought process, I've thought about this. How do you think this affects Disney and SeaWorld and Busch
Well, I
Gardens?
think Epic Universe. Yeah, I think Epic Universe. It's going to transform the resort, into a week-long vacation destination on their property. And that wasn't, you would go to Universal, but you might stay at a Disney property, or somewhere else in Central Florida, and you might go to Universal one day. I think now we're talking, there's going to be so much to see, so much to do between all the parks that Universal now will have, that your whole week's going to be spent there. So I do think it is going to impact, the Disney parks. It is going to impact Busch Gardens. And, then again, we always talk about what a great park SeaWorld Orlando is and how it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Well, now it even gets pushed down a little bit further in the minds of people because of this. So, Ryan, you and I got to make sure everybody knows about SeaWorld still. That we keep that top of mind for everybody because it's a fantastic park there. But I think it really changes the dynamic where, when you thought about your Florida vacations, going to Central Florida, Disney was normally, at the forefront of it, and Universal was the secondary park. Well, now I think that's by the time this opens in 2025, that may be flipped, and it may be you're going now for Universal. By the way, while we're down here, let's go to the Disney parks too.
Okay, let me give you my opinion on this. Well, let's call this a hot take, as the kids say. So I had a long discussion with somebody that's kind of in the know, with not in the know in terms of like inside information, but a very, very smart mark, somebody that's done their research and stuff. And they made an interesting point. They said that when Epcot opened, it cannibalized from Magic Kingdom. And then Hollywood Studios opened, it mainly cannibalized from Magic Kingdom and Epcot. Same with Animal Kingdom, it cannibalized from the three of them. So I think that there's a couple of different avenues to think about this. One, it's going to cannibalize from Studios and Islands of Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a facet of it. Two, it's going to draw people to the area. All right? We can agree on that, right? So
thousands of people to the area.
Millions over the course of the year.
Yeah, millions.
Well, thousands on like a daily basis, I would say.
Right.
Do you think that it's going to be a net gain or a net loss to Disney, where they're going to lose some people in some days to Epic Universe, but there's also going to be more people going to Central Florida in general?
I think it'll balance out.
I think it'll be pretty close.
Because you're bringing a lot more people, there, or people that maybe they would go every 4 or 5 years. Now they're going to be, maybe every couple years or every year now.
Well,
so I think it's going to balance out. So what you would lose, you're going to replace by just that many more people coming to Central Florida.
So you made an interesting point. You normally go every 5 years. Well, we're going to go next year instead because they're opening the new park. That's a huge gain. I mean, that's people that wouldn't be there that are going to be there. It's going to be interesting to see how things shake out, because Disney's not stupid. Everyone thinks Disney's
No.
sitting on their hands and they're not doing anything, and Epic Universe is going to take them over. Disney has done the research, and they may very well be doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And that means you sit back, you let Universal, well, you paid Universal $35 billion for Hulu or whatever the amount was, and they're taking that money and building Epic Universe. They're drawing the people there, and you're Disney, so you're going to draw some of those people. I
Yeah, but
that's
if you're Disney, you are not the kingpin necessarily anymore. I mean, you're still probably in the overall scheme of things, you're still, the top of mind, park for that. You're still going to have the families with young kids and that they're going to want to go to Disney, but Universal for years, was able to benefit because everyone was coming there to go to Disney and, oh, why we're here, let's go to Universal.
mm-hmm.
So I think you're going to see a little bit of the opposite now, not in that same number range of people that went to Disney and, oh, by the way, while we're here, let's go to Universal. But you're still going to have people going specifically wanting to go to Universal that are also going to say, why we're here, let's go to Disney. So I think it's kind of, shifting a little bit.
Do you think, okay, so my understanding, and I heard this information quite a while ago. So I don't think this has changed, but I think it will change come early 2025, late 2024, whenever this park opens. But Universal's strategy was always, we understand that Disney's the big dog here. If you plan a 5-day trip to Disney and a 2-day trip to Universal, and because of our attractions, because of Harry Potter and stuff, if we can peel off one of those days and make it 3 days at Universal and 4 days at Disney, that's where we get our wins. Do you think that strategy changes at this point, based on the fact that you're saying that Disney may not be the kingpin anymore? Do they think of themselves as
Well,
colleague?
I think you're more of a colleague now. That it's, especially once they, Harry Potter, came into play and became a big part of what Universal is. That kind of was the game changer for them to gain a lot of momentum, to get a lot of people, spending those 2 days that you were talking about at Universal. So now I think that what you're doing with Epic Universe, it's another, park. Everybody likes a new park to check it out and see what it is, right? So you're going to gain from that just right there, just out of the curiosity is going to draw a lot of visitors to Central Florida with it. A lot of noise. They've done a great job, with the noise that they've created for this. I think it was 2019 was when they, first announced they were planning this. So here we are, 5 years later. It's going to open 6 years after even talking about it. And again, we're not seeing a lot of, nobody's out there building new parks. So, I mean, this is going to be one of those, rare times that in our lifetime that we're seeing a brand new major theme park open.
Yeah. I agree with all the above statements, except I think that your statement about the Harry Potter thing was the understatement of the night. Because you said they kind of turned the Harry Potter at Islands of Adventure was 100% the turning point that made Universal even on the map of Disney. That's and they've done
it made it a destination.
Yeah, I completely agree. So the next question, you're Disney. What's your next move?
Well, I think you got to stay true to who you are. You don't want to. Disney's never been a company that's going to react too much to what someone else is doing because they've always believed in what they do, and they've always believed what they do, they're going to do it better than everyone else. And to date, they have, and they'll continue to do everything really, really well. But I think that they can't take their foot off the gas pedal. They got to keep moving forward. They can't relax. They can't take, no days off. You got to keep pushing hard.
By pushing hard, are you saying new attractions and stuff, or are you speaking from a marketing standpoint?
Just new attractions. Just making sure that you keep, working on the guest experience, keep improving that technology. Those kind of things all factor into it. Just the overall guest experience. You just got to keep your foot on the pedal, and keep doing what you do as Disney. And like I said, they've always known that they do it well and they do it better than everyone else. So I think that they just got to keep that same mindset, and you can't go off course just because of what Universal's doing.
Right. And I mean, we are in no position to preach to Disney, and Disney knows who they are and they know what they've got. But I will say this, because in the interest of fairness, the Disney we see now is not the same Disney of 5 or 6 years ago. And we're seeing a lot, and you know, if you look online, you see a lot of it. The nickel and diming. That I even heard that they're like with Avatar, the Avatar Flight of Passage. They're thinking about making it 2D because the 3D glasses are too expensive to replace. Now Disney has a little bit of financial trouble now, but that sort of stuff, you got to be a lot more like Disney in 2014 than the Disney of 2024, because you do things like that, you start nickel and diming people, they're going to be like, you know, there's a trilogy of really good parks 6 miles away that will take care of me, you know, and you know, when you're to the point of missing out, I think that ultimately what this is going to be is it's going to be a net positive for everybody. You mentioned SeaWorld. But SeaWorld, first of all, SeaWorld's a very locals park, but also I think that they benefit like a ton from just people being in the area. I think that it's they don't have a lot to worry about. I think that they're going to gain tens of thousands of people per year as a result of this without doing
Yeah,
anything.
you're just kind of in the right. Yeah, you're in the right place. You know, where if you're bringing thousands more people per day to Central Florida, they're all looking for things to do. So yeah, it's going to help SeaWorld out a lot. I just wish more people, you know, put that as part of their plan. You know, if you're going to Florida for 7 days for a week, you know, just take time out for one day to go to SeaWorld because, you know, it's a fantastic park and just kind of, you know, experience something different while you're down there.
I love SeaWorld. The only one I've been to is Orlando. So we're talking about specifically, you know, you mentioned at the top of the show that you've now been to San Antonio, which was very impressive, but the Orlando one is just so much is done right. And it's got such a good collection of. I don't go down there for roller coasters. When I love roller coasters, but when I go down there, I'm looking for something different. But with that being said, their roller coasters are really cool. Their live shows are really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Their
the food's
the
really
food
good.
is phenomenal. Um, the merchandise, as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated, you know, being able to shop around and finding cool stuff with the park logo on it and stuff. That's really good there. Uh, Aquariums. I mean, it's just you can make a day out of it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of, you know, things that, you know, why I bring them up is just that they've always kind of, when you're doing shows like we do, or just, you know, park goers are talking about different parks, it's not part of that, you know, conversation that comes
Mhm.
up with Universal and Disney and all that, you know, and it should because it's right up there with the experience that you get at that park.
I agree. I would say it's right up there with the experience, but I would say it's not proper form to compare them to Universal and Disney
Oh no, you can't. You
because I
can't.
feel like the product that they're offering is different. You know, and if you say theming and stuff like that, yeah, of course Universal and Disney are going to beat it. But if you want to go to a park where you can experience marine life, you can ride some cool roller coasters, there's plenty of stuff to do. You can learn something. I know that kind of stinks to do for a lot of you, but I enjoy learning things. What a great park. And if anything, it's like a beautiful park. So you need to check it out. And they've got their cool little Sesame Street area. Yeah, with the, you know, with the little kids. That's really well done. It's got the Sesame Street facades and stuff. It's funny because I've never been to Sesame Street, obviously. I've been there mentally watching the show when I was little. But I remember the one time I went to New York, we were driving through Brooklyn, and I kept on feeling like I had been there. And then I realized Sesame Street was based off of Brooklyn. So that's why I always felt like I had been there. But
Yeah, I got to meet the Cookie Monster when I was at SeaWorld in San
I got
Antonio.
to meet Elmo, and he's weird. But the facade,
Yeah.
I felt like I was in Brooklyn with the facades. That's how cool it looks. But for a little kid to experience this, it's just absolutely incredible. So, we were talking about Epic Universe, but
Let's get back on
yeah,
track. We always get off track, don't
but
we?
you know what?
But
Epic
no.
Universe has an impact on all these different parks, and I think it's a fair conversation to have. You know.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I remember a couple years ago when you and I were down there at, you know, for IAPA,
Hmm.
and we saw from a distance the construction, you know, that was going on where it was just, you were just starting to see some things going
Yeah.
vertical. It's got to be an exciting time, if you're down there, either just down there on vacation to go to the parks, or you live in Orlando, just to see that all coming together, as you're driving down the road, and that, um, I think it's just a great time to be in Central Florida.
Yeah, I agree. And what a time. I always think about like with Animal Kingdom, because Animal Kingdom I was definitely old enough to have gone to it when it first opened. But Hollywood Studios, I was kind of young, but I always kind of think like I was alive when they opened, so I wish I could have been there. So it's not lost on me that this is kind of a historic thing of being able to go down there and check it out, and in the hopefully first couple weeks of it being open or so. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's going to be I mean, it's a big deal, and I really like the way that they have gone about it in terms of what information they put out there, when they put it out there, how they put it out
mhm.
there. Uh, you know, Mentioned at the top of the show, just super, super impressed with the way they introduced this, giving out details without really giving out details, making people want more. So they did a really good job with that. And, the anticipation, the excitement, they've achieved what you want, with the marketing and promotion of what they're doing there.
Yeah, I feel like they did what I do all the time, and they gave us a lot of information, but told us absolutely nothing. To be fair, okay, I feel like that's coming out the wrong way because we
No, they
did
painted the picture.
right. So a lot of the stuff we speculated on, we now know. There's going to be different portals and stuff, and we got the concept art for the portals, and they did tell us about a couple rides. But a lot of the stuff is, oh, just wait till you see the Harry Potter ride. Anyway, next section, and that's kind of cool because I kind of don't want to know until I ride it in a lot of ways. Yeah, I'm gonna find out
Yeah.
what kind of ride it is and the general concept, but I I I'm more and more to the point where I don't like to see spoilers of rides and shows and stuff like that. I want to see them for myself for the first time.
Yeah. And it also, one of the things that kind of caught my attention is when you're looking at uh, Universal right now, Islands of Adventure, and that they have really good food, but it's not one of those, it's not top of mind. You're not thinking, I'm going to Universal because I want to eat. I think Epic Universe is going to be a park where, yeah, you come for all those other, experiences and that, but you're going to leave there and the food's going to be as memorable as some of the other things that you were able to experience during your visit.
They
I just feel
they
that.
keep on mentioning the dining experiences, so I've got a feeling that that is going to be uh that's going to be a big part of it. Well, we've had a lot of discussions on the theme park culinary revolution and stuff. And you're right. I mean, they've got Mythos.
Yeah, they got really good food. Yeah, they got really good food at Universal, but it's not, like I said, it's not top of mind, or it's not what you leave and head back home after your vacation. You're not thinking about the food. You're thinking about Harry Potter and all those other attractions you got to experience. Um, but with this, I do think the culinary experience is going to be something that stays with you, and you remember it. You talk about it. You share that with your friends, and that when you go back home. So I'm excited about that. As I get older, I've become more of a foodie fan too when I go to parks. And there's parks I've gone to where that's what I've focused on, was just the dining experience. And I think that that's what I'm excited about too with this, is that they keep talking about the dining experience. So that makes me very optimistic that it's going to be very good food. It's going to be memorable.
Well, not just that, because I've heard from so many people like that. I've got a friend that's in what do they call it? Universal Creative. That's their Imagineering, and they're working on the restaurant, this restaurant, that restaurant. I don't obviously, like, the people that are in creative are pretty tight-lipped, but they definitely have friends and family, and they'll mention something. But if they've got creative people working on a restaurant for a year, that tells me that they intend to make it some sort of unique experience too. So I think we have
Just the whole package. Yeah, just the whole package looks so impressive, doesn't it?
I am incredibly excited. It's funny because just a second ago, I got another text from another friend saying, "Did you see the Epic Universe video?" Literally, like within the last 90 seconds, I got that text. So that's kind of funny. I'll have to respond to him. But Don, do you have any final thoughts about Epic Universe?
It when I saw the video the other day, my thought was I got to get an annual pass.
I'm wondering how much an annual pass is going to cost after it opens, because they could probably charge 1,000 fairly and get away with it.
Yeah, what is it right now?
They're different tiers. Mine doesn't have blackout dates, but it's not. It's the second highest tier, and it was like between 600 and 700 or so. I put like two
Okay.
50 ish down, and I pay $30 a month. So it's cheaper than
Yeah, but
Disney.
if it's $1,000, say it is $1,000, and you go there, a couple times a year, and you end up spending 5 or 6 days in the parks, it's worth it.
Oh, if they charge $1,000, I'm spending $1,000. To be clear, and we've talked about this before. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the show, but I told you like offset. But with Disney, I enjoy being an annual pass holder so much more than I ever did being like a park hopper. And it's because I can stop and enjoy it. It takes the stress out of it, you know? Because I don't live down there, but I go down there relatively frequently, but it's still built into my psyche. It's not, this is a $200 park hopper day. It's, oh yeah, I get in with my pass. So I can, especially Epcot, you can just walk around and enjoy it and check out new things and watch all the shows and spend a half hour looking at stuff in the Japanese shop. And Universal is kind of the same way. Since we bought our Universal passes, we haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to go, and the opportunities that we did have were not ideal. So we went down for a weekend a couple months ago, and the our Disney passes were blacked out. This was Columbus Day weekend. So we went on Friday, had a great time, and then we went to Universal on Saturday and Sunday. Well, the problem with Universal is, they're incredibly busy. So it was it- so okay, one thing I will say is that Disney has a lot more places where you can explore, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, places like that, where it's just got like hidden Easter eggs and whatever. And that's definitely good for annual passes. But at Universal, it's really cool to be able to like check out the stuff in the Harry Potter area as opposed to just beelining for the ride. So you've never had an annual pass to any of those parks, right?
I have
Okay.
not. My daughter had a annual pass to
I
Disney.
remember that.
She
Yeah.
loved it, got a lot of use out of it. But that, that's my is I want to have the annual pass to Disney. I want to have the annual pass to Universal, and I want to spend a lot of time in Central Florida. I've always loved it down there. So Epic Universe has just kind of provided even that much more incentive to stop talking about getting the annual pass and just go do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. There's no better day to buy an annual pass than yesterday. The second best day is today. And I wonder which Disney or Universal is going to steal that and make it their motto. You know.
No, I think we're going to see each other a lot down there, Ryan, because that is my plan to get the annual passes to those parks. And, um, I love those parks, and it's just, why not? I mean, I think the value's there. Expensive, like you said, but the value's there. And, I'm going to be joining you on that annual pass uh, program soon.
Well, that's cool. I will see you in the annual pass holder lounge at Universal, which is nothing really to write home about, but it's kind of neat because yeah, the AP lounge at Universal is only open for a few hours a day. It's indoors and air conditioned, which is nice. But one thing that's kind of
Right.
cool about it, we are so going off topic. I guess we're talking about Universal still though, but is they have UOAP only stuff like merchandise, which by the way, Kings Island, you should probably do that. But they have T-shirts and keychains and stuff that say UOAP, and you have to present your card in order to buy it. But it's kind of scattered throughout the park. But in the lounge, in the AP lounge, you can look at all of it and browse through it and so on. And there's tables, and you can plug in your phone there and stuff. So it's very cool. Awesome. Hey, Epic Universe, it's gonna be epic. I promise you that. But Stick around. We got the pick six coming up next.